Fancy remix, page 444.
Welcome back, take 444 this week. We're still in the seas, and a few essential ones this week. The Collectors, this is their first album. They released 2 albums, Canadian band. This came out in 68, I believe. That's the band on the front there. Great sleeve, Art Nouveau sleeve. Canadian band, it's a really good cornerstone psych album in my view. It has everything. It has flutes, sitar. It's slightly eerie, a little bit Doorsy, lots of fuzz breaks in it, and it came out on Warner Brothers. It's New Vibrations from Canada. This is their first, as I say. They released another one which I don't have. I'd like to get it, but I haven't seen it, so I haven't sought it out, but I will get it one day, I hope. Side 2 is a whole suite, but it's side 1 is the better of the two, in my opinion. Good songwriting and fantastic harmonies. The Collectors, they became Chilliwack in the 70s when they moved away from psych, and times changed, but check out The Collectors, very good. So next we have Bobby Callender on MGM Rainbow. Came out, great psych sleeve there, came out in 1968. I think this is the first of 3 albums he did. Bass is played by Richard Davis on here, who was big time session bass player. Got a feeling he did Astral Weeks. But anyway, this is a weird album. It comes with a lyric insert, all in mint condition in my copy. That's the MGM label. So this is I saw somebody read somewhere, somebody said that this was like Andy Williams gone hippie. It is a bit odd. It's very much of its time. Spoken word passages, lots of sitar and the like on it, but it's pretty good. It's interesting. It's very, like I say, it's very hippie. But check it out if you can find it. Pick it up. I wouldn't pay too much for it, but it's got a nice sleeve, and it's definitely of its time. By the way, it's the Collectors playing in the background. Next up, another very well-known album, Christopher. This is not an original copy, unfortunately. So next up is Christopher. This is unfortunately not an original copy. This is an Akama release. It came out originally on Metro Media in 68, I believe. Was it 68? Start again, Mark. Next up we have Christopher. Originally came out on Metro Media. This is an Akama re-release. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any originals. There's only about 1,000 pressed, and they are rare as hen's teeth. So this is a band that they came from Texas. It sounds very like Cream, but it's not, and it's not as fried as the Elevators. It came out in 1970, but it's a really good record. It's quite dreamy as well. There's some sort of rocky bits, quite Cream-like guitar tone on it, and they were a band who hung around with a biker gang. They actually cover photos supposedly taken in their headquarters of their local biker gang, the Barons, I think they were called, something like that. But it's a pretty essential piece of psychedelia. Very well known album. Lots of reissues, and this Akama sounds fine. Nice thick sleeve on it as well. Next we have Children of the Mushroom. This came out, this is a reissue, or not a reissue, this is an album that came out in 2024. So next up we have Children of the Mushroom, came out in 2014. It's a band that only ever released 145. They came from California. The 45 is now worth several $100s. But this is a semi-legitimate release on outside of that label. Is I'm not entirely sure how much the royalties are ever going to get back to the people. But there it is. It's got a great colour insert with that's a fantastic shot of the band. So it's garage psych, like I say, from California. Both sides of the single are on here, but the rest of the album is rehearsal recorded in somebody's living room, I believe. But it's good. It's very garage psyche. It's some Pebbles type stuff, but it's great and definitely worth picking up. Children of the Mushroom on Outsider. Next, we have something from the UK, Colosseum. Valentine's Suite on Vertigo, on the old famous Swirl label that everybody loves. Vertigo Swirl used to be all over the second-hand record shops in the UK in the 80s. They'll go for stupid money now, but that's with the original inner bag. So this is from 1970, I believe. That's the inner sleeve. Yeah, so that's the inner sleeve. So they were a prog. It's a sort of a prog band. They became Colosseum 2 later in the 70s with Gary Moore from Thin Lizzy, who went on to Thin Lizzy, playing guitar. But the main man was the drummer John Heisman, and the whole band are some of the most technically proficient musicians on the UK scene. It's jazzy prog, but just the right side of the taste barrier. It's not people showing off for the hell of it. It's well worth picking up. And Valentine's Suite, which takes up the whole one side, or side two, is the famous track and is very good. Dick Hextall Smith plays the sax, who was in the scene around Alexis Corner at the Marquee when the Stones formed, and I saw it at the Marquee with Alexis Corner in the 80s. Yeah, Colosseum, great album. And lastly, we have 3 albums from a band that are kind of people probably bracket as a pop band, but the Cryan Shames. So this came out in 1967, and is much more of a more of a pop sound, kind of a bit like Peanut Butter Conspiracy. They do some covers on here, Sugar and Spice, Hey Joe, We've Got to Get Out of This Place, that sort of thing. If I Needed Someone by the Fabs. So Sugar and Spice by the Cryan Shames, but they hit their stride later in the year with this absolute monster. Doesn't get a great deal of love, I think, but in my book, it's an absolutely brilliant album. Also came out in '67. These are on Columbia. That's the label. If you ever see this album, buy it on site. It has a track called, this is a promo copy, It has a track. It's called A Scratch in the Sky, by the way, and it has a track called The Sailing Ship, which I kid you not is a top 20 psych track of all time for me. It has a bagpipe solo, and don't let that put you off. It's just fantastic. Stream it and see what you think. Let me know what you think. I really rate this record, especially that track, The Sailing Ship. But the whole album is really great. They've moved away from the pop and had really embraced psychedelia, and yeah, great record. A Scratch in the Sky by the Cryan Shames. And their last album, they released 3 albums. This is their last one, Synthesis, it's called. This came out in '68. It's not as good as the others, or as the last one, certainly. It's a pretty good record, but it's not. It doesn't have the songwriting that the other one has. It has a version of Let's Get Together, the Dino Valenti track from Quicksilver. But yeah, the Cryan Shames also on Columbia, but the Scratch in the Sky is the one to get hold of if you can. That's all for this week. There'll be some more coming soon. Stay tuned. Keep spinning the records. Bye.